Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and welcome back to the AFI Project. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite movies and in my opinion one of the best westerns ever made. It's called Shane. This was directed by George Stevens and Shane stars Alan Ladd, Jean Arthur, Van Heflin, Brandon DeWilde, and Jack Palance, among others. And this is based on the novel of the same name written by Jack Schaefer. It tells the story of a mysterious outlaw named, Shane. He's played by Alan Ladd, and he stumbles upon a farm that's owned by the Starrett family. The Starretts live in the newly founded Wyoming territory, and despite the fact that it's a few years after the Civil War, it's still pretty lawless, so the Starrett family needs the muscle to help protect their farm, and Shane needs the work. The two form a relationship, and Shane essentially becomes their bodyguard, for lack of a better word. But Shane's mysterious and presumed dangerous past comes to light as a group of cattle rustlers plan to steal the Starrett family's land. And we learn throughout that Shane can more than hold his own with a six-shooter. For all of my younger viewers out there, Shane is the movie that they show playing in Logan, the movie that X-23 and Professor X are watching while Logan's off buying that truck. Shane has been an incredibly influential movie, not just in the Western genre. And not just that, but it has been said that the entirety of Logan was essentially just Shane, but with superheroes. I saw this movie in high school, and I've seen it several times after that, and every single time that I have seen it, it has just gotten better and better. It's one of the greatest Westerns ever made, if not the greatest. Firstly, I want to talk about Alan Ladd because this dude is awesome. I've been told by my dad that in his day, he was like the George Clooney of his time. He was incredibly charismatic, and he just got all of the big roles. And Shane would end up being one of the last, if not the last, roles of Alan Ladd's career. And if that is the case, then, wow, talk about art imitating life. And I guess in a weird tradition on this review segment, I gotta talk about a difficulty that happened on the production, namely the gun demonstration. There's a scene in which Alan Ladd is showing off his gun skills to the Starrett's little boy, Joey, and that particular scene took 116 takes to finally get right. In my research, I found that Alan Ladd absolutely despised guns, and so for him to just even touch one was a miracle in and of itself. The final product turned out to be amazing, but wow, it was a long road trying to get there. And the rest of the cast was very good as well. Jean Arthur and Van Heflin have great chemistry with each other. You get the feeling, though it is never said in the movie, that they met each other very young and they have been through hell and back with each other. Nothing's going to separate them. This new opportunity in the Wyoming territory is their ticket out of just an incredibly terrible situation, especially after the Civil War. And the last thing they need is these cattle rustlers trying to steal their land out from under them, which is what they're absolutely trying to do. And the movie does a great job of showing that despite the fact that Joe Starrett is a very good family man, there's only so much that he can do. He only knows about farming. He really doesn't have the ammunition to fire against these cattle rustlers, and needs Shane to help him out. That doesn't make him less of a man, that makes him worthy of being open to help. It's a very admirable trait. And Jean Arthur was also very good as well. She had the kind of tendency of being the worrying kind of wife where she's like, Joe, please don't go after them. But you do get her reasoning. She's completely scared out of her mind of what might happen, and you do feel sympathy for her. And Jack Palance was also excellent. Despite the fact that he rides in on a horse like a true boss, in real life, Palance actually despised horses. So to get him on a horse was just a Herculean task in and of itself. So between Ladd and his fear of guns, and Palance and his fear of horses, that must have been a fun set to be a part of. But now I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes in this movie, the bar fight. Which bar fight, I hear you ask? The bar fight. It's one of the only big fight scenes in the entire movie, so you won't be able to miss it. But man, it's not only very well staged, but it's also incredibly funny, but in the best way possible. I say it's funny, but in a kind of a badass kind of way. I know it sounds weird, but every time I watch this movie, I laugh out loud just about how amazing this fight is. The fight starts when Shane is just there trying to buy himself some new clothes. You know, he's in there with the Stark family, he's just minding his own business. But then the cattle rustlers show up and they try and bully him out of the store. They call him sodbusters, which, yeah, that's just pretty degrading, that. And in a previous scene, one of the rustlers had thrown whiskey into Shane's face. And so Shane basically gives him a receipt, like, here, have a drink. He throws it in his face, and then he punches him out. And the fight is on. But not only is the fight on, Shane basically beats up all these cattle rustlers. Like, there are like 3 or 4 of them in this bar, and he takes it to all of them. It's only when the 5th guy comes in and blindsides him that he really falters. And then Joe Starrett enters the picture. Starrett breaks a chair over a dude's head and is about to get in on the action when he gets hit in the head with a 2x4. And it's a Royal Rumble. That's all I can say. It's one of the best staged bar fights in movie history. Like, go look it up if you haven't, because you will not be sorry. But one of the reasons why I love this movie so much, and paramount among all of them, is that this movie has a theme of things ending. Throughout the movie, it's never really said, but throughout the movie, you get the feeling that Shane is coming to the end of his trail, for lack of a better word. It was especially upon this rewatch for this video that I finally put together that this movie reminded me a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't play a ton of video games, but Red Dead 2 was one of the only ones in the past couple of years that I've played from cover to cover, and I absolutely loved it. Arthur Morgan and Shane feel like, I don't want to say brothers, or they feel like carbon copies of each other. Arthur Morgan is a relic of a time gone by, and in Red Dead 2, you see, as the levels progress, but places getting more and more urbanized. As the game goes on, you start and you see, wild and open frontiers, the Wild West. And then by the end of the game, you see more cities like Saint Denis, which, for lack of a better term, looks like either St. Louis or New Orleans. I'll back either argument on that. Why do I bring all of this up? Well, I think that Red Dead 2 and Shane have very similar themes in that they're both all about things ending and new things beginning. The Starrett family set up on this new territory, the Wyoming territory, and they're trying to start new lives, while Shane is a relic from a time gone by, the Wild West. And, well, spoiler alert, he gets shot at the end and presumably dies. And yes, I do believe he dies at the end. Shane's death is a bit of a metaphor for the Wild West dying, and the Starrett family represents the new beginning of the Industrial Revolution, if we're going to call it that. If you all made it through that tirade, I am grateful. The point I'm trying to get at is this. Shane is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's got great acting, beautiful cinematography. This movie actually won the Oscar that year for Best Cinematography. That's well-deserved right there. And this movie has been incredibly influential to many directors over the years. So much so that James Mangold basically made a superhero version of it 64 years after its release. If you all haven't seen Shane yet, go out there and do it, because it is one of the all-timers. But that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Next time on the AFI Project, well, we're going to be returning back to the Frank Capra well for the first time in a while, and we're going to be talking about one of the first movies that he ever made. It's from 1931, and it is called It Happened One Night. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.